دختر جون خجالت بکش روزو کن اونور.
It was interesting to get a glimpse into this other culture, in such a micro and close-up way. And it was a really good title because maturity. We're seeing these two children, each at a stage of maturity, and how the family is treating them around this. And it seems pretty brutal and harsh. So it's quite eye-opening that way. All the performers did a great job. The kids were terrific. The adults, everybody that was on screen was great, and it was really well produced. With they were able to get everybody together to stage this banquet. It all looked really authentic, and it looked very real. So good job there. Had a good cinematic quality to it.
It really took me, I think, for a turn, especially towards the end. And I think what I get from that is, I guess, the sort of issues that come with sort of older school traditionalism, and sort of the distinction between men and women, and how the two are sort of celebrated, especially in more like traditional homocultural aspects. Yeah, I do think it was interesting to have this sort of scene and like how the little boy was celebrated the whole day. Everyone sort of congratulating his mother, congratulating him, and going through all this effort for the celebration, for just maturing as a child, as an adolescent, for puberty, etc. And yeah, I think it was very powerful. I think the ending really, really tied it all together, and it was a powerful ending. Yeah, I think they did very well. I do enjoy this sort of story, and a look into sort of more cultural stories.
Very simple and also profound story. I think it's really timely, and it communicates a lot about structures and inequalities, and I think it does it in a really simple yet unique and impactful way. Definitely felt the emotions by the end of it. So I think that the way it was filmed and the way it conveys those stories very visually, it's done an amazing job.
It definitely opens a window looking into different perspectives, especially when it comes to age and gender. It's very interesting how different cultures will look at your gender in a certain way. And also kind of the archetype, or in this case, stereotype that you're supposed to enroll. I think the one line that basically said it for me was, the boy is going through a procedure. I could be wrong. I apologize if I am, but I assume it was a circumcision. He went through that, which at that age sounds painful to all living everything. I don't think he was on any painkillers either. And reasonably, he's upset. And the line that just stuck out to me was, "Men don't cry." And then I assume that was his sister. The entire time, like when they find her, the first thing they say is, "Shame on you. How dare you look at this? How dare you look at him becoming a man?" And it definitely felt like it was sending a message of, all in all, these are kids. And there's this stigma that at a certain age, you're an adult and you need to have all of this in order. You need to act this way. You cannot do anything that toes it out of line. But these are just two kids who, at the end of the day, just want to be kids.
Everyone is fussing over this boy and he is distraught. And then there's obviously some sort of major celebration that is tied with this ceremony, and everyone's preparing for it. But you have this one little girl who doesn't seem to know what to do with herself. And the whole time she feels very out of place in all the various scenes. And then you have them gathering for this large dinner, and you see, this beautiful family connection. And there's some sort of connection that she has with the boy. And we saw it from the very first interaction where she's kind of peeking her head in on the circumcision, and she's getting shooed away as if she should be shameful for daring to look. And I get a sense that this is a culture where there's definitely like a difference between how men or women should be viewed, and how women are probably treated a certain way, or there's different expectations definitely for men versus women. And I just got that sense based off how this little boy was being revered and how this girl was kind of being shooed away. And these are the things that you need to be focused on, the cooking, the cleaning, the preparing for the meal, and it's all about him. We're centering the celebration around him. And so it just gave me a sense of, okay, on a larger scale, maybe culturally, this is kind of how this whole culture is. But when he says you have some blood on your dress, I thought, okay, now I know that the boy was bleeding earlier because of the circumcision. There's been a reference to the fact that he won't stop bleeding. And so it makes me think that maybe she had some interaction with the boy. Maybe she hung out with the boy. Maybe she hugged the boy, and now she has blood on her dress. It also made me think, did she get her period? I don't know. But then she was slapped. And so I'm just like, this bleeding must have a bigger implication, and it has to have something to do with the interaction with this boy, because they had such a charming moment from across the table. So it makes me think that maybe she had been around this little boy at some point that we don't see, and that's what her family was reacting to. But I would have loved 5 more minutes just to find out the resolution, because I felt like, wait, what happened? I want to know. I want to know more.
And I really loved this piece. It was very impactful. It definitely got its message across, kind of demonstrating how cultures and West Asian cultures tend to hold very patriarchal values, where a male coming of age is like a celebration, whereas a female coming of age, something that like they look down upon her for. So that message came off very effectively, especially since there is a parallel between like the boy, I think, I forget what procedure it's called, but like the blood that came from him versus the blood that came from her starting her period. It was a really good piece. I loved it. It was very impactful.
Great watch. I love this story. I feel like it's culturally significant. Such captivating shots as well. I feel like it really was a must watch.